I don't want to beat a dead horse by any means. And I know this Oregon State stuff is difficult for a lot of you students, fans, alumni, etc. But I feel I don't know, obligated to not obligated. That's a bad take. I just kind of feel inclined to get into it because I always want to talk this stuff out a little bit. I know it's real quick and easy to just kind of jump into it and say you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot, and I don't want that to be it at all. I just kind of want to, like I said, talk it out and see if there's a way to kind of check on it. Some comments, some thoughts I want to read for you. That money should only be for students. Any consulting, quote unquote, fees should come from the school. Could not agree more.
Yeah, 100%.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's where a lot of this goes is, and that's maybe the stickiness of the NIL that we really didn't quite see coming. And that's why you see this $2 billion investment being floated around going into the B1G, is that once all this money starts to roll around,
where is it coming from?
Exactly. Where is it coming from? And once places that are financially viable and doing really, really well, there's always going to be, see, to the point where I've read this on both chat lines of being America and capitalistic and also exploitive, in the sense that college football is what, a $6 billion industry right now. And yeah, once NIL starts kicking in, it's just going to keep creeping up. Once it breaks away from the NCAA, up. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people in this country that like college football a lot more than NFL. Now, NFL still makes a lot more money because it is a marketing juggernaut, fantasy football, gambling, et cetera, like that. But in college football, as it starts to get more and more money, there's going to be more and more vultures circling around, looking for where can I make money off this. And unfortunately, a lot of it, to your point, in the, as how this kind of looks like a Ponzi scheme, a lot of it is predatory. A lot of it is, how can I get this $6 billion entity? How can I sneak maybe like $20 million out of them? They won't notice that, right? Mm-hmm. It's the whole premise of Office Space. Yeah. You know, if I just take 0.001 cents, nobody will notice. And after 5 years, I'll have $10 million and I can sneak away.
And the problem is the decimal point got moved over one.
Yes. Yeah.
So here's where I'm at with this. This was all happening for the past 50 years. But where it all was one place, the NCAA. They were a nonprofit. It's because they spent all the money. That's why. You had those people all at the top who were mine. And remember, we had to beat them with a stick over the head over and over and over again in lawsuits before they finally went, well, I've got what I could get out of this. I got to go. And you saw this happen with gambling when gambling first started coming around. Look, I'll be honest. I was approached about possibly partnering with a very large gambling company when the TV show left and we were changing networks, and I almost did. And it was very, very enticing. And it was one of those things where it's like, is this a path I really want to go down? Is this something I want to do? Because, you know, I'm looking around like, everybody else is doing it.
Why not me?
Why not me? Like, why not get? And I was just like, we didn't end up doing it, but it was one of those things where it's like, it's been a free for all. And I've been on record of saying I would rather things be a free for all, because I think it does benefit more people when you take down those barriers to entry, and it has been for the athletes at large. But when you have this is the trade-off, is that you're going to have predators. You're going to have predatory institutions. You're going to have predatory companies. You're going to have predatory people. And you can talk about putting guardrails around it, but the second you put one set of guardrails around it, well, it changes for this group, and it changes for this, and you start finding a way to round those things. And you just goes from having it open to having this thing that's tight again, and it puts so many barriers to entry up that we're right back where we started.
Yeah, there's this statement comes in on the YouTube chat here. Is this going to be referred as the great grift of 2025-26? We see how politicians are taking advantage of their power to benefit financially. That's both sides of the aisle. That's everybody, no matter where your politics
Go track
are.
Unusual Whales. They track all the trading
insider
options.
trading and stuff like that from
weird.
senators and Congress people and stuff like that. That I think this is you had this what
it's very reminiscent of that.
What I think the question might be more is if this goes off the rails, if this gets even bigger, this $2 billion thing in the Big Ten once they split away from the NCAA.
And that's going to be small when we get down the road.
I wonder if in 20 years we look back and say, we screwed up and the NCAA did work. Right now it looks terrible, right? The Mark Emmerichs of the world and the mine, and these student athlete BS. Yeah. But I wonder if that protection in place to this listener's point kept the grifters out.
No,
and at least the grifters were internal and not people trying to swarm in and vulture caca into the pot.
See,
I'm just asking the question. That's all.
I get where you're coming from, but the call was coming from inside the house. And I think that's...
for now.
But see, I think that was substantially worse because it was all concentrated. With this, more people get to benefit, and you just have to deal with the stuff on the outside. What ultimately will need to happen is, and this sucks in a sense because I can say this because I'm not an Oregon State fan or alum or something along those lines, and as far as I have ties to the institution, some might have to get chopped off the vine. You know what I mean? Like this is what I said with like the NIL deals. You know, the Jaden Deloras, the Nico Maialavas, like
might not work here anymore.
But they tried to do the thing and they failed. And now those institutions have had to deal with ramifications of a certain along the way. But those are not the norms, and they got chopped off the vine, as it were. Sucks for them, but I think I can see the same thing happening to these kind of companies. And if it comes down to, if you were at the top of an institution, if you were the president, chancellor, whatever of a university, and you hire your AD, and your AD is a complete scumbag,
which is going to happen, more and more.
But here's the thing: if you don't have the right guy, that's not the AD's fault. I mean, it is, but that's your fault.
Your fault, yeah.
And if your program dies because you're too inept, you're too stupid, or you're too greedy, and you got yours, do not pass go, get fired, and hopefully, if you actually are found to have like either extorted money or willfully used public resources or donations, that you get your ass thrown in jail.
Yeah, there's so much money being thrown into this, invested into it that, when programs go down and programs like are in hard times, like take Oklahoma State, for example, it's the AD's head who rolls. You know, it's the coach, it's the coordinators, it's the AD.
But it's so much more than that.
And it's never the chancellor or the president or however your school is structured. You're talking about now we're getting to the point because there's so much money involved and because there's so many people trying to find their way to steal their own little cut that, whether it's legal or something, and that will go all the way to the top because there is no way with this much money on the line at universities, whether you're Washington State, Oregon State, or you're Texas, Ohio State, there is no way your president or chancellor is not discussing this $2 billion investment, this NIL collective firm, these consulting firms. There is no way an AD is acting rogue on that.
No, and
no way.
To go a step further, we're getting there already. And I'm going to use the example that I'm familiar with right now with USC. Their recruiting department and how they went about things was a mess. It's been a mess for 2 years. Notre Dame, despite having all of the additional addendums of being Notre Dame and the admissions being difficult and all the stuff that comes along with being Notre Dame, they still recruited and they were in a national championship game last year.
Yeah.
That's impressive. So what does USC do?
They gets that guy.
They go and get Bowden to go run things. And now USC is the #1 recruiting class in the country. I think you need to go a step further than that. I think, yes, you have to have somebody who's very good, very trustworthy, has the right vision and all those things. Oregon is probably one of the best markers for that on the business side of things in the entire country. I think that matters, but I think there needs to be a position created at every major university that wants to be a part of this, whether it be in football or basketball, that is essentially a president, somebody who is on the same level as a chancellor or president of a university. They are a chancellor or president of your sports program.
You're talking about a controller.
I'm talking a full-on buck stops here human.
Yeah.
Because as a chancellor or president of a university, education is supposed to be your thing. That is where you're supposed to specialize.
Education don't make money, though.
But here's the thing. If you want to be a part of that, you can't do both effectively.
I agree. That's why you have an AD in the first place. But it's becoming more.
It's more than it's more than that now. I think the AD has to be like your third position.
Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. We'll keep an eye on this stuff, especially the B1G and all that kind of stuff. I know Michigan's come out and said they are not interested in that, but the future of college football is always a conversation that is fun having, and just we have no idea where this is going to go.